Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Dawn.
And I'm John, and together with the two running brooms. And welcome to episode 2 of the Ham and Lyme 50k training series.
Yes, and it's my first ultramarathon.
And it's my second ultramarathon, but the first one that goes on field, trails and paths, uphill and down dale.
For those of you who watch the channel will know that in our last episode we reached out to Ben from the Time on Feet running channel, and he gave us some tips on how to approach that ultra.
That's right, and over the last week or so we've been putting some of those into effect. But before we dive into what we've been doing to improve ourselves for this ultramarathon, we'll give you an update on what our training's been looking like after the last month or so.
Yeah, so back in...
exactly 1 month today.
Oh yeah, so exactly 1 month today I started the Manchester Marathon. Unfortunately, again, those of you who watch the channel will know I didn't finish that marathon. I had some issues.
But not to fear, because there was a plan B up your sleeve, and that was to complete the Milton Keynes Marathon 2 weeks after, which was an England Masters qualifier.
That's right.
So we booked a nice accommodation at the Milton Keynes Don Stadium, found ourselves on the start line of the Milton Keynes Marathon and met Rachel D.
We did indeed, and if you've not seen her channel, please check it out. Very well worth watching. Yeah, so at the Milton Keynes Marathon, once again, I did not finish.
And we thought you did not finish because where we were on the course, there was a little bit of stop-starting, there were quite narrow paths, quite big bunches of runners and bollards slowing them down every so often. But lo and behold, and you can probably tell from my voice what happened next. First Dawn, and then myself, tested positive for COVID. A couple of days before that we had done the No Walk in the Park 5k in Chesterfield, both posting satisfactory times but not quite what we expected.
That's right, and then a couple of days later, yes, as John said, we became quite poorly, and it turned out that poorliness was COVID. Now I feel possibly that I had that virus in my body when I started at the Milton Keynes Marathon, and the reason I believe that is because I was experiencing an unusual amount of fatigue by the time I got to 10 miles, and I couldn't quite understand why I was feeling so fatigued when I trained so well. My legs just felt like I was already at 20 miles. Knew something was up.
That's right, and to present a hat-trick of woes, just before you tested positive for COVID, you'd also entered the Helsted Marathon, just to complete a marathon for this training block, one that is nice country lanes in Essex, so that had to be scrapped as well.
Yes, yes. So yeah, so Spring Marathon 2023.
Played 3, lost 3.
Yeah, it just was not meant to be. So, some of the tips that Ben gave us.
Well, the first one was to practice terrain, and that's why we're out tonight on this lovely uneven trail. There's plenty of tree roots, plenty of little things to bump over if you're not careful. A little bit different to our normal terrain. So we've been practicing running off-road quite a bit, not just the surface, but also some undulations as well.
So another tip that Ben gave us was to practice running through fields of cows. However, what went wrong, John?
What went wrong was we found a field of cows. And unfortunately those cows were not for moving. I think there was some young uns in there, and they came across to the gate and they didn't look too pleased about us trying to content create and them being on the channel.
No, they didn't. It turned out actually they were bullocks, and a gentleman who was walking his dog was going past, and he actually advised us not to go through the field, even though it was a public right-of-way.
Yeah, I'm confused about that, viewers. If you do have any comments on this, please let us know below. I just can't quite get my little brain round why on a public footpath people put something on there that is potentially dangerous. It just doesn't compute with me, so maybe some of you country folk may know better than I why that happens.
Or why don't farmers put up some kind of fence to fence off the animals, because obviously calves are quite well, skittish, aren't they? They become scared of us, and we can see that. But unfortunately, their mothers are a lot bigger than we are, and it is actually quite a scary prospect to go through them. And even when you try to skirt the edge of the fields, because they're young, they do actually start to chase you. So when it comes to cows, I think we've got a lot of practice to be had there, because I genuinely fear going through fields of them, and I just hope on the Ultra there's lots of other people going through at the same time so I can just follow them.
I'll tell you what I'm going to practice, and that's getting good OS maps of the area and finding alternative routes all the way around them.
I'm sure there's people who do that. Although I'm still very excited about doing this Ultra, so cows aside, there's going to be lots of, you know, genuinely nice things to experience.
That's right. What particularly appeals to me with my history brain on is doing all the research beforehand about the different villages we're going to run through, history of Ham Hill, the history of the Monmouth Rebellion that the Ham and Lyme route commemorates. So it's a good intellectual as well as physical challenge.
And do you know what? We're practicing one of those tips again from Ben, and that's walking. Because as mainly road runners, we do run off-road. We don't tend to walk much in our sort of road races. So getting yourself used to running and then walking is something we have to train our brains to actually do, because it just doesn't come natural.
No, you either walk or you run in my world.
So yeah, so today, as you can see, we've done a bit of a run, and now we're having a little bit of a walk, and then we'll run again.
So in this episode, we've mainly been thinking about cows and how to manage them. So if you have got any tips on dealing with cows, or got any good experiences of dealing with frisky cows, or bad experiences and things you'd like to warn us about, please let us know in the comments below. So we hope you've enjoyed this video, the second in the series of our Ham and Lyme 50k training. If you have, please give it a like. If you're new to the channel and would like to see more, please consider subscribing. So until next time,
keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on.